Hello, hello. It's another icipici edition of the Hungarian Living podcast. This time we are going to focus on learning Hungarian. Even if you are currently studying Hungarian, we will cover some interesting material, so stick around. Well, hello. Welcome to the Hungarian Living podcast. I'm your host, Elizabeth Szabó-Voss. Our goal is to discover, celebrate, and share Hungarian heritage and encourage you to do it too. We'll touch on food, travel, history, music, language, genealogy, and share stories from our guests. We're glad you're here. This is a podcast where we'll explore Hungarian heritage in a variety of ways. We'll introduce you to some fun people and organizations who love their Hungarian heritage and share some great resources with you so you can get connected to your Hungarian heritage in a deeper way. So whether you know a little or a lot about being Hungarian, this is the place to be. Hey there, this is part one of the icipici edition of the Hungarian Living podcast on getting started with Hungarian. Hungarian is such an interesting language. I grew up hearing it all around me in church, when my mom was on the phone, at Hungarian events, when people stopped over to visit, and at events where there were other Hungarian speakers. In preparation for a semester-long trip to Hungary in 1973, I went to Hungarian summer school in Ligonier, Pennsylvania, at the Bethlen Home. I have bumped into a number of people through the years who attended this very same program, but not during the summer of 1973. I wonder how many years they had this program. Anyway, I've been around Hungarian all my life, but was never forced to speak it fluently. And it makes perfect sense. While both my parents were very active with the language and knew how to speak, read, and write in Hungarian, they knew that just because one knows how to speak, read, and write in Hungarian doesn't mean that they know how to teach it. I think they knew their limits, and this was just not where they chose to put their energy. Even though I am currently studying Hungarian, I do support their decision. I never thought anything unusual about Hungarian being such a part of my life. It was just there in the music, in the little songs we sang, in the conversations, in the names of the foods we ate, in the prayer we said together at Sunday lunch, and in the books around the house. I have the sounds of Hungarian in my brain, and over the last 15 years or so, I have been intentional about learning more. In this series of icipici podcasts, I'm going to give you some simple ways to get started or refine your Hungarian language journey. There are so many resources out there, and it is difficult to wade through what is the most helpful. To start this series, let's think about your goals for learning Hungarian. So grab a notebook, start a document on your computer, and answer the following question. Why do you want to learn Hungarian? I'm going to list a variety of scenarios, and you might find that you have several different reasons. But knowing your reasons will help you stay motivated. Do you want to be able to decipher genealogy records or correspondence from relatives that are in your stash of goodies? Do you want to communicate with relatives that only speak Hungarian? Are you looking to keep your brain sharp? Would it be helpful in the work you do? Do you have memories of Hungarian being spoken around the table and you trying to figure out what was being said? Do you know some little songs or rhymes your grandparents said and you want to know what they were about? Do you plan to travel to Hungary and you just want to know a few phrases so you can be polite? Do you want to honor your parents or grandparents by exploring the language? Do you want to pass the language portion of your dual citizenship test? Are you comfortable speaking the language, but essentially illiterate and want to know how to read and write and understand the finer points of grammar and vocabulary? Have you adopted someone who speaks Hungarian and you want to connect with them more deeply through language? Or do you have a thing for logical languages? Because really, you don't have to be Hungarian to study Hungarian. I have mentioned a lot of great reasons to study Hungarian, but I'm sure there are more. What are your reasons? I would love to know. You can send an email to podcast@hungarianliving.com and tell me why you are interested in learning Hungarian. And if you are interested in learning Hungarian, you are in luck because we are starting Hungarian lessons again. We have over 100 students learning Hungarian in small groups that meet for 1 hour at a variety of times during a week and at a variety of levels. Classes will start up again in August and run for 14 weeks. Our students range in age from 25 to 80 plus, and truly, that's a big piece of the fun. There's more information at thehungarianstore.com, but I will have a link in the show notes. But hurry, classes are starting soon. I hope you enjoyed this new edition of the Hungarian Living podcast, all about getting started with Hungarian. Stay tuned for part 2. Do you want to learn the Hungarian language, Hungarian history, or learn how to research the Hungarian side of your family, we've got you covered. Check out all our learning opportunities as well as meaningful books and gifts at thehungarianstore.com. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode of the Hungarian Living Podcast, please share it with someone you know who loves their Hungarian heritage. If you own a business and would like to talk about sponsoring an episode of the podcast, please contact us at podcast@hungarianliving.com for more information. Special thanks to Stephen Chichek and the Animal Cannibals for the show music. Check out our show notes for links to resources mentioned in this episode. If you have a question or comment, we'd love to hear from you. We'll catch you next time.